guys, it's me. We're live here on YouTube tonight, getting ready to do some watercolor painting, and I got some new things today. I'll be excited to share those with you. I see we've got Merrick here for sure, as we've got a little hello going on here. Oh, we've got Amy. Everybody's ready. We're all on time. Maybe we'll have no technical problems tonight. I've got Amy T, and I've got Poop Dude 827. Is there a better name I could call you? I would love to call you by a first name. That would be much more exciting for me than calling you Poop Dude. Hey, Valor Badger is here. Tonight I'm painting the picture that is up here in the top corner. You can see this landscape. Cityscape. It's a challenging one. You might notice I have a slightly larger piece of paper because I'm going to require a little more room to do some of these intricate details. Cole. I will call you Cole. Thank you for clarifying. This is a much better name to call you by. So I've got Amy and Cole and Merrick. Is that your first name, I wonder? And maybe if Valor Badger wants to throw a first name in there too, that would be awesome. Bad Habit 13010 is Brian. Nice to see you. I'm bad with names. I'm going to really try my best to remember some of these names. So we're almost ready to go. Hopefully the stream cooperates and we're going to do some painting. So that is your first name. Excellent. My first name is Lisa. I'm sure some of you already know that. We did some voting on the YouTube today on the community channel to find out, or the community page link URL, to see what I would paint today. And the verdict was this colorful group of buildings that you can see up in the top corner. So that's what we're going to paint. And I'm just going to pull it up on my computer screen here in my reference images so that I can see a big version of it on my computer. That will be helpful. And then I'm going to put the chat right up on top so I can see what you guys have to say. Just clicking this will help. Oh, close the chat. One of these ways. Yes, perfect. So what I did earlier, because I knew this was going to be a fairly big project, I did a little bit of sketching. I'll show you what I did here. It's okay, Cole. We missed you. We're glad you're here. So Amy and I are painting this. She's been sending me pictures on Instagram. She's doing awesome. She's keeping up with me, painting everything that I paint, and she's doing a 100-day painting challenge. And there's Amy. And so if you guys want to paint or draw along with me, that is fun too. But if you just want to chat, also cool. So there were 3 different landscapes, and apparently some paint smudges and some motorcycles or scooters that I painted on here earlier. 3 different landscapes, and they all had sort of different color values. And this was the one that we ended up with. It was number 3, and you can see here I did this pencil sketch, just a tiny little thumbnail, and I found that it's helpful to just think about where I want my brights and my darks to be. So this was a value study in thumbnail. So what I mean by that is I looked to see where the darkest colors and shadows were and the brights. And I just roughly sketched them in so I could sort of get a sense of what my final image would look like. But also, I'm not going to paint every single detail of this painting. I'm going to go for the essence of it, the best that I can. And this is something that I haven't done before. Like these other paintings that we've been doing together have been a little more true to life, and I'm hoping to just get better at simplifying things. So I figured if something big like this with so many details would force me to simplify. So if you look here, you can see this was scene number 1. Scene number 2 was the one with like the vines growing up the sides of some brick or stone buildings with a little path up the center. And scene number 1 was mostly like building fronts with a path that seems to have like rail trails going up. And I think this was like a mountain in the background. There was no sky. So these 2 were actually my preferred choices because there's a little bit of sky, and I liked the color of the buildings in option 3. And option 2, I also liked the green of the vines. But we're going to paint number 3, which is the one that you can see up here in the corner. And so the darks and the lights are going to fall in these kind of areas here. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of sketching out on the paper, because it's important for me to get the proportions and the angles correct. So this one will not be classified as one of those 30 by 30 direct challenges for me. This one I'm going to do a little bit of sketching first. So I'm just going to grab a pencil. I'm going to try not to erase, because it damages the finish of the paper, but it'll be helpful to get a sense of that. So I got a pencil, eraser if I need it. I've got some other exciting things here too. I got some new Daniel Smith watercolors in the mail today. These were super expensive in my world, according to my usual spending habits, but it's 6 little tubes of 5 mils of primary colors, and I'm probably going to swatch this tomorrow just to see what kind of colors I can get and what sort of mixes I can get from this. And I also got some new quill pens in the mail. Like, these are really awesome. I'm not going to use them tonight because I don't really know how they work, but I'm going to start experimenting with these as well, because they're natural fiber bristles and they hold a lot of water. So we'll see how those turn out to be once I get used to them. So I'll just set these aside, and Cole is telling me the profile pic is when I went to the aquarium, and when the turtle area is when I got to that pic. Okay, so I will look for you on Instagram. Next time you like one of my posts, I'll check and see if there's a aquarium picture. So now looking at this scene, if I think about the whole picture, you can see that there's like there's a line. It goes from really, like, the buildings here at the beginning of the page, or the picture, they fill up the whole section, and then the roof line comes down, starting over here. Do I have a link to the brushes that I have been using? So you're referring to my round tip brushes. I don't have it right now, but I will look for it. Absolutely. I like them. They're sort of functional for me, and they weren't expensive. Been using cheapo Michaels brand. You know, mine are not expensive brand either, but they've been all right. I feel like the tools you're used to are the good tools. It's kind of like, what's a good wine? Whatever wine you like is a good wine. And same thing goes with paintbrushes, kind of, sort of. But these are not expensive. They're run-of-the-mill. Cole says he doesn't post. And Valor Badger's asking if I've been to this city. And this particular city, I've never been here. Whatever this is some interesting looking, colorful city in I don't know which country. So, like, if you just think about the whole picture, fibers coming out, that's annoying. When fibers come out of your brushes and they stick in your paint, that's really annoying. Or when they make lines you didn't mean for them to make, that's annoying too. So this much of the painting is going to be roofless because the houses come all the way to the top, and then to about here is the roof line, and then we're going to have these slanting down roofs, and it kind of all sort of comes into this little focal point, which I'm going to say is right here. So I like this because it's sort of 2/3 way or so across my page that everything becomes as narrow as it's going to get. And then Cole says, just kidding, I don't have Instagram. Okay. Sure. So then if you look here at the bottom corner, I see that the angle is going to be coming from the bottom, heading along the road here towards this vanishing point. And then it sort of hops up to the top of the buildings that are in the background. There's like a roof line there. And then it dips down a little. And then it comes up again like this. And then there's just a short little roof line. Then it's going to come up some more. And another short roof line. And then some sort of chimney, I guess. And then a really steep roof here coming from the edge of the picture straight in like this. All right, so then this was the low building with a roof that comes in a little bit on an angle, and it's not very far. But then we have some kind of a terrace maybe here that's going to angle up, and there's some sort of a chimney here or something. And then we have this next building, which has like a drain spout that's going to come all the way down to the ground and over and up to the roof. And then this is where these other gutters are coming up to the edge of the painting. Okay, so these are some pretty good like establishing lines for the bulk of this image. Now I can also see that everything does vanish right here because the road comes around the corner. So it just sneaks in back here. And then so we've got this like blue house, and then we've got a little bit of a turn, and we've got a pink house. Let's see, this roof line is for the pink house. Good. Do I have it wrong? The blue house, I'm trying to get this right here. The blue house has a roof that keeps going over this way. I see. I'm really thinking hard here. I don't have watercolors, so no, you're not going to color. Well, you know what? You could draw with pencil. Just a suggestion. Okay, I'm just trying to work this out right here. I don't want to get it wrong. This roof is a flat face behind the chimney, and it angles down. And this roof angles over to the blue house, which then has this diagonal. Got it. I got it now. There's a diagonal face on the blue house, and then it comes down from here to meet this other low roof here. There are no mistakes. This is right. Only happy accidents. So this comes all the way up and over. This is the roof of the blue house. This one keeps coming down over in front, down to here. And then we have the red house, like this, and then the roof of the greenhouse, and it's going to come in behind. So many lines. I feel like something's out of proportion. I feel like maybe these are too low. What's out of proportion here? Probably my whole picture is not the same dimensions. Yes, Merrick, this photo is very complicated. So I'm going to do some sketch lines first and just sort of get everything where I think it should be. Hey, Linda, nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I'm just establishing some sketch lines here so I can get the perspective right on this image. You can see up in the top corner here, that's what I'm drawing and painting. Yeah, Merrick, I'm definitely going to skip some details because there are way too many in this image to do them all, but I want to get the basic essence of this picture established. So I'm going to come at it from the other angle here just to see what I can do with the general essence. This line is going to end here, and these guys, they sort of slowly turn towards the corner. So we've got the blue and green houses are here, and then there's another pink one. And This post is going to come down to here. Just use my paintbrush as a ruler. And it's actually kind of crooked, but I'm going to leave it straight since I've already got it in there. And then we've got a roof line here for this last pink house that's going to have a little triangle peeking out like this. And then the roof itself is going to come like this, but not that far. Maybe that far, close. So this comes down from here, and then this comes down from here. I'm still, my target is to keep the live stream the regular length, even though the painting is definitely more complex than the others. So I'm going to be leaving out details, absolutely. There's not going to be any way to get all of the details in the short amount of time, the limited amount of time that we have. So this angle meets in here, because this roof is steeper. What's going on here? I've got all these lines, and they're not all making sense. This roof blends into this roof, and this line goes over here. That's going to make more sense. I don't think we can sort of discern those two, not visually. You just found your stylus. Nice. So you can draw on your computer. All right, so then this line will just adjust over a little bit. This is better. Try not to erase much. So, how is everyone today? Anyone got any exciting news? Anyone do anything fun or interesting? I just went for coffee with an old piano student of mine. She's not old. She used to be my piano student. A former piano student of mine. That's the way to say it. So these roofs are way more steep in the picture than they actually are on the screen. So I've done something wrong in perspective here, but it's okay. I think I'll be okay with this. And then we're going to have this angle here coming in along the front. And then the greenhouse is going to end right around here. Is it? Oh, I totally see what I did. It's just this is the bottom. Has more height. Sure, let's end it right around there somewhere. And then we're going to have a little stoop thing here. Cole got out of school today. That is good. You mean for the vacation? For the summer break? That would be pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. All right. So I keep wanting to draw in more details here because, you know, drawing is my main art style. So it's really tempting to use it as a bit of a crutch. Interactive generative art to create a mandala. That's really cool. And Cole is going into 4th grade. That's exciting. 4th grade. You're growing up. I remember 4th grade. My teacher's name was Mrs. York. She was kind of cranky. She kept everyone in line. That's for sure. So this is where a window's going to be. And then another window here. And then a door. Angles down. All right, so I'm not going to sketch in too much more of this, otherwise I'm just going to get carried away with sketch marks, which is not really the point of this, although it's not bad to ensure that things look the way you want them to. That is important. When is the next stream? Well, let's see, today is Thursday, so Friday, tomorrow. I haven't set the time yet, though I have a fairly busy day tomorrow, but it will probably be close to the same time as this one. So around this time tomorrow is what I'm going to suggest. Something like that, I hope. But no plans have been set for the next stream quite yet. Okay, so there's like this cobblestone path that comes up the middle of the road here and then takes a turn with the road. And there's also a shadow and a tree line. So we've got the sky up above the trees here. And there's a lamp post. And I think that's going to be the last feature that I actually build in with lines. Is going to be this post. Let's see here. It's on this roof. Yeah, I'm going to put it here. Lamp post comes up above the house line. And it sits like this in the distance. Okay, so I'm going to put the pencil down. Oh, almost. I'm going to just draw on this one edge over here. So there's a really dark edge to the building. We can't really see what's going on over here, but it looks like maybe a fence of some sort. Comes most of the way down, and then we've got like a cement wall here. And then a ledge that makes its way into a door. So what are you doing, Amy? Are you going direct to watercolor here, or are you doing some sketch marks as well? Curious. So on these closer ones, I'm a little bit more interested in the specific details of the buildings, because they're the ones that we can actually see like in detail, whereas the others are farther away. So I feel like those ones can be just hinted at more so than these front ones can. That's what I think. That is what I think. Buildings are picky because they have to have the right sorts of angles, but they're also satisfying because of that same reason. When you get them right, it's always very pleasing. Amy's trying to sketch. Cool. And Cole is drawing his glasses. Speaking of glasses, I need some glasses. Some days my eyes like glasses more than others. Some days I'm fine without them. Today wasn't too bad. Okay, so should I add more sketch details than this? Well, I could just show where this really close up open arch window is. And there's like a midway across this window, there's a board set into the plaster. I think this must be somewhere, it feels like Mediterranean or something. Somewhere old because of the cobblestones. Feels like it's not modern. Not very modern. And this comes all the way down to here and goes up and has these inside edges too. Okay, soon I'll be done with the sketching. Keep trying to stop. Remember, you're now to draw a kiwi bunny. Mine has to fit on your challenge notebook, so paper is pretty small. Yeah. Well, you'll have to just go less heavy on the details if it has to be small. Sacrifice details for size. I actually chose the bigger paper because I knew the details were going to be the size. There was going to be a lot of things to consider, so I was going to try and go bigger just to see what I could do with that. Okay. So putting the paper down. I think you mean a kawaii bunny, and I do remember it. Cole is asking. So I need colors. Looking at this, wondering which set of colors to use. I always seem to default to my Sakura Koi set. Pale pinks and blues, pale green, pale yellow, but popped out yellow on that side. I'm gonna see if I can't try to do this on my cotton. I'm just gonna move some of these things out of the way. May not need them. I may need them, but I may not. So before I got started, I started to get these paints a little bit wet, and what I did was I just sprayed them with this mini water sprayer so that I didn't have to keep dipping in and out of the water repeatedly. So this is a number 12 round brush, and if I wanted to be really washy, this is the one I would use. So maybe I do want to be washy. So I think what I'll do is I think I'll start off with these the fronts of the buildings, like the colors, just on this left side, because this is the brightest part of the picture and I want the least amount of pigment on this page over here. So I'm going to dilute down some yellow, and that's a super bright yellow, so maybe I'll go with lemon, and I'll just add a bit more water there just to keep it really wet. And then I'm going to paint in like everything here because I'm going to go over in darker colors on the more dark details, but I don't think I'm going to leave any white space per se in this particular building. I do want to just pull off this line that I made by mistake on the teal, on the mint green building though, or at least try to. Because these are so close up, I'm even going to try and pull that line off and just remember where it is. All right, so let's just get a little piece of swatching paper here and see how much pigment I have. That's probably good. So here I go. I'm going to put some of this nice muted yellow on the yellow house. I really am. Really, I am. Up here on the roof line. And then down over that lamp and all. More water. I'm going to just kind of wet this whole building with plain water so my paper can be a little bit absorbent. I'm using my Arche watercolor paper, which is a premium paper, and it holds the water really well. I like that about it, but I got it on sale. I don't like to spend a lot of money on supplies, but it does seem like it makes a difference, that the quality of the supplies can make a big difference. Hey, hiccups 1 2 3 4 is here. And hey, thanks Linda. Yeah, spraying the paint gets it ready for you ahead of time. All right. So there's a nice bit of yellow there. I don't think I'm going to add more color to that. I'm going to let it dry and fade out a little bit. And now I'm going to think about this mint green and see if I can't mix that color. It's an interesting looking color. I definitely need to start with, it's got some blue in it. It's a bluish green. So let's pick up some cerulean and some yellow. I'm going to pick up the same yellow that I just was using. And then a bit more. Try not to contaminate my paints. I'm really good at dabbing my brush into the paint when it still has other colors on it, which is bad. All right, so that's not exactly the color, and it doesn't have to be exactly, but I would like it to be a little bluer. So I'm going to grab a little bit more blue. I'm going to stick with the same blue I was just using, which is the cerulean blue. And this is my little color labeler. All right, so we're going to go with that, I guess. It's a little more turquoise. What can I do to help that? Maybe I should try adding the other yellow, which is my warmer yellow. No, that will just brown it out. I have to keep with these colors. Maybe if I tint it down, it'll help. Cole, do I like reading? I do. I love to read. More blue. More blue. I'm trying to think, what are some of my favorite books that I've read? I liked the Maze Runner series, that was good, and Insurgent, Divergent. Okay, more blue. This green is really quite blue. That might be it, let's see. I loved the Harry Potter series. It was amazing. I saw all the movies. Okay, I'm going to go with this as the color, even though it's not really exactly the color. I'm going to stick with it. So we've got some darkness up here. I'm just going to leave that extra pigmented. So the shadow is going to come from there. But now I'm going to wet the paper and proceed with the same color, only diluted. My favorite flavor of Kool-Aid. That's a tough question because I don't really like Kool-Aid. It's a little too sweet and artificial for me. Even when I was a little girl, I didn't really like Kool-Aid. What's your favorite flavor of Kool-Aid, Cole? Did you celebrate being finished school by having some Kool-Aid? Alright, so there we have some water. And it's going to be lightness up here and some green down here and in here. Okay, let's try and put some diluted green in this section. I never got your streams in my sub box. Finally got it today. Hey, well that's good. I guess you did something differently. Maybe you hit the bell in order to get the notification, or maybe YouTube was just being complicated and even though you wanted notifications, it wasn't giving them to you. Or maybe it was giving you notifications when you were not available, so you didn't notice them. So many things could have happened about that I cannot explain. If it was up to me, you would have got the notifications. But clearly, it was not up to me. Okay, now I need to get some darker version of this blue-green in the shadows. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of more color on my brush and come in with darker green on these edges here. And then I'm going to have some browns in the rest of that. A little shadow underneath there. Orange. Orange. That's an interesting comment. Okay, so I've got these two guys. Now I've got a little pink and another little blue and a darker green. And then a red and then a blue. So many buildings in here. But also still very light in color. So pink. Let's see what we can do for pink. I'm probably going to use Purple Lake and dilute it because purple tints down to pink quite nicely. I took out the bell and it worked when I put the bell. It took away everything. Oh, okay. YouTube is complicated. I don't pretend to understand it. All right, so that purple down to this color. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's okay. So that is this one here. Ba-dum-bum. So somebody, I was watching a YouTube video, I think it was Brian Ashmore, who was saying, you know, one thing you could do to improve your watercolors, one tip. And I'm like, oh, if there's one tip, I want it. So the tip was, don't worry so much about the color, worry more about the value. And he gave an example, and he painted a picture where he didn't even use any of the colors that were the real colors, but in the end it looked really sharp, because he made sure that the darks were dark and the lights were light. And that was really what made the picture look really great. So I thought that was a good tip, and I'm trying to apply that knowledge into some of my art a little bit when it's appropriate. Okay, so I'm going to let this little blue house dry a little bit before I paint the green one. I'm going to hop over to the darker red purple one. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of some alizarin crimson, which is a cool red, into this purple, just to give it a little bit more color. That would be good. Nice, that's pretty, but it's way too deep, so I need to tint it down with some water. Orange Kool-Aid. Okay, that was the random orange comment. Orange Kool-Aid is your favorite color, is your favorite flavor. I have favorite jelly bean flavors, but I don't really have favorite Kool-Aid flavors. So what's your favorite jelly bean? Oh look, the blue house has sent its blue over into the next door pink house. How long will I be streaming? My plan is to stream for another hour and then be done. That's my plan. So I wonder what I can do about this. Probably nothing except wait for it to dry, but the blue from this house has now invaded the house next door. That's okay. We won't worry too much about that. But we'll try not to do it again. Let these other things get more dry before we paint next to them. So let's see, if I'm not going to paint next to these, I could go add some value into the forest. Now, the secret with this is to put a color as the trees back here that is the lightest color that the trees actually are, but not as dark as it's eventually going to be. So I'm going to paint a little water on here and make sure I get everything that I'm trying to get green. And then I'm going to go back in with the highlight green or yellow or whatever I decide the color is that these trees are. And somebody gave another tip once when I don't have a thing to do it with right now, but they punched a little hole punch, so that they could look at the colors in an isolated way without seeing everything around it. And the sky is going to be blue, and the trees almost have a bluish green about them, so it's almost even this green color, the same, you can't see what I'm pointing at, this green color is almost the same highlight as the trees have. So maybe that's what I'll use as my forest back here in the hills for now, and then later I'll go back in and add some shadows and details that darken this up. But I think that's a good choice. Just a nice little wash of this greenish blue. 3:38 a.m. Yay. Wow. I don't know about you guys and your night owl habits. I like to sleep when it's dark. So I usually don't stay awake later than midnight. That's kind of the latest for me. Sometimes I stay up later than midnight, but mostly not. Alright, so here we have a green wash where the trees are. It's just so I don't end up with any missing color. We don't want any white to be coming out from back there. That's going to be subdued in the background. All right. So we're doing good. Merrick says it's 1:40. Everyone's got different times. I'm drawing a chick with Santa's hat on. Oh, nice. That's a fun one. I drew a penguin with a Santa's hat, and I drew the poop emoji with a Santa's hat. You might be interested in that one as a tutorial on YouTube a while ago. Okay, so this is looking the way I hoped it would so far. Now, I think there's still a bit of wet there. So I'm going to touch that one, which means I can't do these ones. But I could come back in here and just add some metallic color into the downspout. Or I could work on the deep darks of the roof over here. Let me think. Or I could come all the way over. If I don't really want to work on this side because my hand ends up on the art. 739. How I draw a penguin. Well, you just have to keep trying to draw penguins. Eventually you'll know how. It's not very good advice, but let me see. This roof line crisscrosses over here, and I don't see that line the way I see it on the picture right now. I think I gave up when I was sketching that. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, what will I paint next? Sort of waiting on things to dry. I guess I'll do roof lines, and they're brown. A penguin, yeah, black, and you're done. There you go. Good advice. Okay, roof lines are brown, so I can use this burnt umber pretty much just straight off the pan. But again, tint it out a little bit with water, just so I can have room for details later. Because there's lighter and darker sections on these roofs. So I'm just going to pull this in around the corner of this building. And on the other side of the downspout. And pull it all the way here. This is so nice and relaxing. I enjoy watercolor painting considerably. It's like my little piece of quiet for the day. Even on a hectic, busy day, you can sit with your paints and your friends from Poland and United States and England and somewhere in the Middle East. And I think we had Pakistan here the other day. All of the countries enjoying the painting and the chatting. So roof line here. It's going to come across like this. And there's a little roof over here. And then while I have this color, I might as well find some other versions of that. Like maybe here inside all these wooden sections probably have the same brownish tint. So you should use Streamlabs, because if people donate to you with the sponsor super chat, YouTube takes 30%. Yeah, but I don't usually get too many super chats anyway, so I don't even know Streamlabs, what that is. Would anybody find me? I don't think people are looking for watercolor friends on other stream sources. I see, there's Twitch and there's obviously Streamlabs and etc. But I'm here. I'm not really here for the super chats, although it's nice and very appreciated. It's just a feature. Now, if I could make $1 million from super chats, I would be crazy not to switch. But I have this feeling that that's not going to happen. Do I watch the Flash TV show? No. Is it good? Do you like it? Should I watch it? Apparently you must watch it if you know that it's there. All right, so roof, wood. And then there's some wooden somethings down here. So might as well put those in. I see the brown from whatever's in here, and then some other dark colors. And I'll come back over this with the I'll put the railings in with some gouache later, because there's no way I'm going to leave those lines blank effectively. So for now, I'll just paint this in. And let's see, I've got roof lines in brown, and then over here, there's the really dark brown of this door, but it does have some highlights. Well, that's good. Tell me what you like about the Flash TV show. It must be exciting, perhaps. Perhaps. There's some dark in here. Whatever that is, it's dark. And then this is wood. Yeah, there won't be a speed paint for this, by the way. I was drinking water and suddenly I have ice in my mouth and throat. It hurts. That doesn't sound good. I have water. I should drink it. I keep forgetting I have it. Before I sit down to stream, I always get a beverage so I can stay hydrated while I'm streaming. And I almost always forget to drink it. Maybe you guys can remind me to drink my water. How's that? You can take care of me while I paint. I did just have some coffee though before I started, so I won't be dehydrated too soon. Remember this blue and red house. Oh, thanks, Merrick. Bet you it's dry over there now too. I'll just finish with the brown and then I'll head over there. It's a good idea. All right, so we've got the brown here. There's like this little edge of some dark brown peeking back here, or some shadow at least. Why aren't I doing a speed art? Well, mostly because this is a very complicated subject and I don't think I could manage to do in the time that I have. I'll probably just barely finish this one. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have extra time. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying it's unlikely that I will have time for the speed art. Okay, let's go back and get the blue and the green houses. Is there a bot that does it? The speed art? Amy's going for coffee. See, here's my water. I'll be doing I'll do a replay, a time-lapse replay of this painting. But sometimes at the end of the stream, I paint the same picture again really, really quickly. And I consider that to be like a speed art version of the same painting. So I won't be doing that today, but I will be putting this out as a time lapse, just to be clear what I was talking about. So we've got this little blue house back here, bluish greenish house, and it comes all the way up to here and it comes down the side like this, and that is the end of that blue house. And then we've got the green one, which is gonna need some more yellow. I'm gonna have to buy some more lemon yellow soon. I'm gonna run out. Keep using this color a lot. It's my favorite yellow. And so here we have a green house next to the blue house. And it's looking pretty bright green, so I'm going to just take some of that color off before it dries. Ta-da! Okay, now I've got green and yellow and pink and blue and green and dark pink and dark blue and then shadowy color, and then there's this, this, and this. Okay, we're getting there. The bot tells you every 20 minutes, it tells you how much mils of water you should have. By the time he types the message, people use it on Twitch. That's interesting. See, that's why I should be on Twitch, right? But I'm not on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. And I don't think there's a YouTube bot for that. Okay, so I don't have a gray on this particular palette, so I have choices. One choice is build gray out of colors. The other one is use the other paint. So I think I'm going to do the challenge of building gray. And there's a few ways to do that. I could build the gray using green and red, or I could use brown and blue. I feel like this gray needs to be brown and blue. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna use this burnt umber right over here. Nice thick burnt umber. Get it all out of my brush so I don't waste it in the water dish. And then I'm going to get this ultramarine blue. I'm going to put that beside it. And then I'm going to turn this into gray. Let's see. Ooh, so pretty. So it's kind of a blackish grayish color. And the darkest part of my painting is over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just like plop it on. See what happens. Yeah. Ooh, look at that color. That is gorgeous. So I get these tips on how to mix colors by watching lots of other people who like to paint. There's this one guy called Teal, and he gives me lots of ideas about mixing colors and mixing blacks. And I learn about lifting paint colors from The Mind of Watercolor with Steve Martell. So he teaches me all kinds of things, and I just have to remember them. But I'm loving this black. That's sort of a mix of brown and blue. I love how it's got like variation in the color. Like, whew, that's amazing. I didn't have to do that. It did it for itself. I'm getting blown away here by amazingness of watercolors. It's making me happy. Sometimes watercolors frustrate me because I imagine something being a certain way and then it doesn't work that way. And then I'm like, I don't know why. Learn better next time. But that was amazing right there. If nothing else goes well, I'll be happy. I can bring the bot here too. You can do it for me if I want. How would you even? Like, you just put it in the chat? Is that how the bot works? I'm not sure how you could do it for me, but that sounds cool. All right, so there's my deep dark corner with all the mysterious colors of gray. Now, there's this cobblestone path. I think I'm ready to paint down here, and this could all be a really light tinted out version of that. So I'm going to paint water on my path all down here so that the tint will be subdued. In fact, I had enough paint still on my brush because I didn't clean it very well that it's partially the color it should be anyway. Valor Badger says, wow. Are you wowing about the beautiful blues and browns of that gray? That's what I was wowing about. Do I watch Dude Perfect? I do not watch Dude Perfect, but I do know who they are. Maybe they'll come to my live stream and they can paint with me. That's very unlikely. But they are YouTubers. Big ones. Way bigger than me. For sure. Okay, so let's see if we can just add a little bit more, some little bit tinted out version of this, just to make it look like cobblestones, sort of hit with different little dots of gray all around here. Now this is going to be really dark eventually over here, so I'll just let that spread. I hope Amy came back. She went to make coffee. Because I'm getting ahead of her now, but she'll catch up. All right. So this is going to have details and shadows. Yeah, they have 30 million subs. Okay, well, I've got 100,000 subs. So, so there. Yeah, subs don't matter to me, though. I mean, it's nice to have lots of subs, no question. But what really matters to me, what I think is great, is communicating with people and connecting. So that's why I really like these live streams, because I might have 100,000 subscribers, but right now I have like 5 or 6 or 7 people who I'm actually talking to while we decaf. Okay. I don't really prefer decaf either, but seems like we have 11 concurrent viewers right now. So this painting, I'm reasonably happy with how it's coming along. Reasonably happy. Yeah, 100,000 is a lot. Absolutely. I seem to get the most subs during the heyday of my how to draw tutorials, when I was uploading regularly, because that's the secret on YouTube, is connecting with people frequently, and then also having more content on a regular basis. Obviously, people aren't going to keep coming back if you're not giving them anything. So when I stopped doing regular uploads, my subscriber rate decreased, as you would expect. But as I said, I'm more interested in connection than numbers. I'm drinking coffee I made before the stream. Well, that's a good idea. But didn't you tell me you were in grade 4? Maybe that was hiccups. I can't remember. Someone's in grade 4. If you're in grade 4, I don't recommend coffee. I don't know why, but I don't. Okay, so I've got some gray here. There's a bit of gray over here too, so I think I'll add that. First with water. And then with just a plop of this. So I don't know if you were here when I mixed my gray, Amy, but I used burnt umber and ultramarine, and those two were made this beautiful sort of mixed gray with the blues kind of popping out. And then I'm just kind of blending it more and using it for these other grays too. Okay, now let's see. I've been neglecting some of this other stuff. I think I'm ready for the sky, and it's a really pretty blue turquoise color, so I'm gonna definitely use some cerulean for the sky, and I feel like it's gonna be pretty much straight up cerulean, so I'm just gonna leave that on my brush and come back in here with lots of water and puddle it on. And I'm going to pull a little bit of it off with a dry paper towel, just to give it a little less punch. Maybe put some clouds in there. Because the sky is not the main feature of this picture. The buildings are. All right, I've been a coffee drinker since grade 1, and I don't think you should drink coffee when you can't even spell it. Okay, so once you're old enough to spell coffee, yes, coffee. Once you're old enough to spell coffee, you can drink it. And perhaps the President of the United States shouldn't drink it because he spells it funny. All right, so now I've got some dark colors that are missing here, and then I'm almost done with the backdrop. So that's a reddish brown, so I'm going to grab just a little bit of this cadmium red, bring it over in my burnt umber, and paint this miscellaneous building here that's beside the post. But it's I'm choosing a slightly different color just so it has its own little character here. Otherwise it's going to blend right in to whatever that is that's beside it, that plain wall. And then there's all this really dark stuff, but there's a tiny little bit of trees in there. I'm going to try and get those beautiful greens, straight up sap green, right from the tube, right in here. Just peeking out, a little bit of greenery, catching the sun, and then a little bit of yellow on top of it for some highlights. Okay, can't do much more than that. Actually, I could pull it off and add the yellows. Yeah, there. And yellow. Okay, now I'm gonna have to be careful not to go over there. So I just added the green. So I guess I'll focus in on this missing section here, which is an orangey yellow. So I can switch over to my cadmium yellow for this. It's pretty pigmented, pretty dark, full-bodied. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on here, and then I'll come back and smear it around with some water. I know that's not a technical term. Molly, hello! Nice that you joined us here on our stream tonight. Or today, and depending where you are. It's night for me. Evening. It is evening. Okay, I better spread this before it ends up making other shapes that I don't intend. Thanks, I'm glad you like it. I'm learning how to paint with watercolors. I've always been an artist that draws and sketches and uses markers and mostly like pencil and like ink sketching, but I want to get better at painting with watercolors. So I started learning in May, towards the end of May, and I'm practicing every day. And since I'm here on YouTube, I decided I would live stream while I'm painting practice so I can have some company. And it's working out great. It's working out great. One of these days I'm going to tape down my painting before I start, because that's one of the things that helps stop it from like curling up on the edges, etc. But so far I've been negligent and not done that yet. But I know how to flatten them, so I just flatten them later, which is probably not as good as keeping it flat in the first place, but seems to be the way I'm doing it. So one day I did tape down one of them, but then I unstuck it too soon, so it still warped. One of the flowers that I did the week before. All right, so we now have some yellow over here for this house, this building. This window needs to be yellow too, but it's going to be darker. I'm just going to put this in here for now. I'll come back later and punch it up with some maybe ochre. Thanks, Emeric. Yeah, finally some color. I'm avoiding this green until it's drier, but I'm going to have to come in here with some really dark browns. And I'm going to paint this darker as well. I could do the inside of the lamppost so that it has time to dry. It looks a little bit blue, so let's just put a little bit of blue in here. Just going to paint it on directly, and then I'm going to lift it so that it's much subtler than the dark that I just put there. Okay. I'm traveling this summer. Mom is calling me for booking tickets. Ooh, go book your tickets. Tell us all the details later. Valor Badger is asking if I remember what my first drawing was. Like, do you mean on YouTube or in my entire life? What kind of question are you asking? There's different answers to both of those questions. Yeah, yellow-gray contrast. I'm liking it too. It's really punchy. And I like the way this one is sort of, you know, vibrant and subdued, whereas this one is in the full sun. And we're going to add some shadows up here after too, so that's going to make it interesting. Now we have some darks up here that we could work on because the sky is not in the way, but it looks like dark brown. So I'm going to grab some burnt umber and maybe I'll take the edge off of it with some yellow ochre, but maybe I won't mix them too fully on the pan. I'll let them kind of blend themselves as I'm painting to give like streaky color, sort of like happened over here, which was awesome and amazing and totally unexpected and nothing that I planned. Okay, so let's see what happens with this. Oh, not that one. It's not dry yet. We'll go over here. So this is going to have this little rain spout, and it comes down like this. Might need some gouache on this after because there's a little reflection that I am probably not going to be able to leave in if I want to have no white spots, which would be okay too. Alright, so there's a downspout. Now there's an extra dark section there too, and then over here I don't know if that yellow is dry enough to get beside it. I don't want the downspout. I would like it to stay distinctive, so I'm not going to paint in there. But let's go and look at this really dark section beside this blue house, and then maybe I'll be ready to work in here by the shrubbery in my life. Okay, first painting. The forest seems bright in comparison to this black gray one. This forest, yeah, I haven't added the low lights yet. Just putting in sort of the highlight colors, and then later I'm going to go back over it and put in the deeper colors. But I do notice that there's probably something missing here, whether it's sky or forest. I think it's forest. So thank you for talking about the forest. It's helping me to notice that this is missing right here. And I might as well just go all the way across there. Yeah, I'm going to punch this up with some dark blue greens, and that's going to be, the darkness of the painting is going to be on this side, and then the shadows here, and then the forest, and these roofs are going to be deeper dark as well. But for now, I need to get some nice dark. I'm going to mix that same black color that I did before, which uses the burnt umber and the ultramarine blue. That makes a really pretty black. I'm going to put that in here. Do, 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 do. Breathe. Sometimes I hold my breath when I'm painting. So I'm trying to do a good job. Back. I told her I'd do it later. I want to watch me. That's silly. You should go book your trip. Don't forget the blue and the red house. I did those, but you maybe can't see them. So now I'm going to go in here and paint this really dark thing too, whatever that is. The front of this nondescript super dark thing. I'm going to leave out the post so that it's unique, but it's going to be dark as well. And come down. I should probably have a smaller brush right now. That would make this way easier. Way easier. But that's okay. I'm going to keep going. I'll do it the hard way. Because why not? Okay, so this is finishing that edge there. Now I've got this nice dark color out. I wonder what else I need it for besides this. This and this are super dark. Then there's going to be more dark things over here, but I don't know if they're quite this dark. There's definitely this edge up here. Like so. And decisions. Okay, so that is dark. It's going to be extra dark thing here. Since the paper's curling, I might as well really super curl it. And then there's something here. So let's see. This color is a mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and it makes this really intense black that isn't really black. It's got something else going on because those two colors are playing together. It gives them more interest in life than a straight up black would do. Okay, so that's super dark. Now, if I tint that down a little bit, I think I can add it as some shadows here. So there's this line of the two roofs that kind of overlap right along this edge here. That's too much water. I'm learning so much about watercolors. Like every time I paint with them, I feel like I learn something else about them, which is awesome. And I'm happy. there were a few times that I was working on painting and I was so unhappy with like what I hoped would happen compared to what actually happened that it was a little frustrating and discouraging because I'd done some good work on the previous attempts. So then to come back at it and have it worse, it was like, oh, that's too bad. I thought I was getting better and then I wasn't feeling like I was getting better. And then, but sure enough, seems to be improving. At least my confidence is, which is important. It's a good thing I don't need straight up ultramarine in this picture because I have so much brown in it right now, it's not even funny. Okay, so let's see. Keep putting my hand in paint, and if I'm not careful, it's going to end up on my picture in various places that I don't want it. And I've got some water over here, being careless. Don't want to mess it up now that it's starting to look so good. Okay, there's like a little chimney thing here. I could paint this in with a dark brown. So we're going to grab this brown again. I'm going to punch up this gray with brown. And we're just going to paint this in with a smaller brush. Okay, Lisa, get a smaller brush, would you? How about number 4? Number 4. Let's get number 12 nice and clean here, so I don't get my paints dirty later if I go and use it. All right. Image compression on YouTube blurs. I cannot see such subtle differences. Yeah, it's because it's a stream, right? It must be a lot of data. All right, smaller brush, and now I'm coming in here along this green roof's roof line. I'm putting in the shadow of that chimney, as my cousin used to call it when he was a little boy. It's a chimney. All right, just adding a little bit of detail here along the roof lines. I'm holding my breath, as I seem to do. All right. So now I'm going to paint over here where everything is seemingly dry again. Put this downspout. One of the reasons why I forget to drink water while I'm painting is I always set my water down far away so that I don't end up dipping my paintbrushes in it. I've done that before, dipping my paintbrushes in my drinking water. And then who wants to drink water that's had paint in it? Not me. All right, and we've got some really dark up here. Whatever this is, little chimney. And I'm going to just punch this edge of the roof off of that. And now we're ready to finalize this little lamp post, I think. Either that or I could save it till the very end, because it's one of the darkest things in the picture. So, what should I do next? Maybe these shadows on this. Maybe let's work over here where things are dry and my hand cannot get things too wet. So what we need to do is add details. The details are doing the picture. Yes, the details are doing the picture. Okay, so over here we're gonna pull up some of this brown shadow, and we're just gonna really enhance this edge right along here. All the way down. And some more blue. I just don't want to contaminate it, so I better clean my brush. You're still drawing the chick. Use the bottles, you cap it on. Well, that's a good idea. See, this is why I chat with you guys while I'm streaming. You're full of good ideas about how not to get paint in my drinking water. Alright, so we got that dark shadow. It's super dark. And then down here we've got a little bit of dark along this edge. And then some more in here. And some more. I kind of like working with this too big brush because the tip is still fine, which is helping me get the details, but it holds lots of water too, so I can go for a while without refilling it. That's helpful. Alright, so this is super dark. I might even make it darker later. I'm going to have more shadow that comes across here, but that's a pale shadow. But we do have some dark window recessed shadows, and the darkest one is right here along the edge of this window, and then it comes over and down on a bit of an angle towards here. And then down here we've got some super dark window well, like so. And there's a thing here that holds the light up in the sky. And there's something here. I'm not going to paint it though. It seems unnecessary. So I don't even know what it is. So, okay. It's coming. Come along. So then, for this roof line, I'm just going to take this brush that's kind of dry and just sort of sweep across here to give the idea of shingles on the roof. Like so. And like so. Might make some little finer lines later. Poop Dude wants to know if I am married. Oh, that's Cole. Right on. I'm not married. No. Alright, so up here we have some shadows in this beautiful window. And then we have some super dark. We have to wait for that to dry. So much waiting. Alright, over here, I'm sort of liking whatever that was. I don't know where I picked that up, but it's the right color for these inside window shadows. So I think it was just a tinted down version of that. So let's see. Let's see if that works for us. Let's come down on this one here. Just pull this out. And again, I have to remember Brian Ashmore's tip, which is the actual color doesn't matter. It's the value of the color that's more important. How much dark or light it contains is more important than the actual color of choice. So if it's in the right range of darkness, which this is probably not quite dark enough, is more important than if it's the color on the color wheel that you're looking for. Thank you, Hiccups. I mean, you can ask me what my favorite things are, but, you know, personal life questions, not so important, really. Okay, so this looks like it's going to bleed onto the yellow. I'm going to try and avoid that issue. Just going to look from a distance for a second here. Okay, I'm not unhappy with this. Not unhappy. It's taking me a while. Oh my gosh, it's 20 after 9. I don't have much more time, do I? Okay, let's try and go a little faster, Lisa. Let's try and finish this in the next half an hour, which is overtime, according to my original plan. So I do need shadows up here, and I want to maintain the yellow underneath them. I'm gonna maybe use this umber as the shadow color. See what that does. And if it's not enough of a contrast, then I will choose another color. But it's gonna come across from here and continue to there. And it goes right over this light and right into this edge, softening the edge. That is a good color. I picked a good one. And curves up towards here. 4:20 a.m. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. It's late. All right, I'm going to just add a little bit more tone in here because it's looking a little wimpy. So that will help. Then the darkest part of this shadow is right in this corner up here along the edge of the roof line. So let's do that and then pull it down a little bit. Okay. Mind blown. All right. Some shadows down here. Need some color so that they look like they're part of the building and not just some random grayness. Random grayness is not a good plan. Okay. We need a little bit of indication of some shutters in here, like so. And then we need some of this wood grain along here. Like so. I would like this edge to be a little cleaner, so I'm going to use the brown just to pop it out. Like so. All right, that's coming. So we've got this. We need a little light in here. I'd like it to be kind of black, and then we'll probably use a tell you what, if you come to Oman, I'll let you live in my closet. Cool. I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, so up here, I'm just gonna pop in some extra darkness along this little light, and then over here, we really need this to be black. So let's mix that black that we love, which has burnt umber and French ultramarine, no, ultramarine blue, and we're gonna get the very pointiest point of this number 4 brush. Could have switched to a 1, but I didn't. And we're gonna just try and make a light above the door that resembles the one that's there. Okay, ta-da! Now let's darken up the edge here. Let's mark these in. And let's bring a little shadow down the side of this downspout. Like so. And let's add some depth in here. And then there's this thing on the wall that looks like flowers, so let's put that in. Don't know what it is, but it's shaped like a vase of flowers. I don't even know why it's here, but I'm just gonna add it because it's in the picture. 5-star hotels are a thing, you know. Yeah, I get the joke. It's a funny joke. Okay, so let's put some brown in here for whatever this thing is. Some pipes. These are some downspouts coming from over this way. I mean, this is fiddly detail that probably doesn't need to be in the painting, but somehow I decided I should put it. And then I'm going to grab the really dark shade here with some blue, and let's make this chimney top. Like that. Yeah, starting to look more alive now that I'm filling in some of these details. Details make all the difference. And it's all about the shadows, isn't it? Like when you punch in some shadows, everything comes to life. But when there aren't any shadows, it's like, well, it's so washed out. There have been other times I've been painting and I've been unhappy, and then when I added the deeper colors and the darker shadows, that's when I loved it. So like, don't quit. If it's looking washed out, you're not done. If it's looking washed out, you need to paint more in some little areas to bring out the contrasts in these colors. Because without darkness, there cannot be light. There's your deep thought for the night. Hopefully I finish this tonight with you guys. Hopefully I don't have to go before it's done. Okay. So I'm gonna aim to get faster at making these cityscapes or building paintings. I'm gonna get faster at it, but for now I'm just trying to get decent at it. So I'm not gonna try and rush. Just gonna do the best I can with the knowledge that I have, which is limited at this point, but it's growing. So a little more umber. Oh, that's really dry. Some more water. Just pull in some more color there. The paper absorbs a lot. Like, watercolors always dry more faintly than you put them on. So you often do have to go add more things. The chimney over the greenhouse. The greenhouse. Yes, that's what when I did all this other stuff, that's where I was actually trying to go. I'm getting there. It's just taking a while. Okay, I could stand a little bit more shadow up here. I'm going to use that same I'm going to use that yellow ochre for extending the shadow, but I just need to have hardly any. That might be enough. So just up here you can see the glow, but it's a little bit less bright. That would have been a great place to use some quinacridone gold, which is one of my favorite colors. I just don't have it on my palette tonight. So that'll be better. Yeah, ooh, definitely. And then I just need a little bit more dark right in up here along this edge. Hee hee hee. All right, so that is that. I could keep going back over this all day before I would get it the color I want it to be. So at some point you have to call it and say, that is it. No more color for you. But I do need this little bit of brown into the wood so it doesn't look so washed out. We want the building to look like it's going to hold up. Okay. Merrick says, okay, I will wait. I have time. Thank you. I will get there. This needs gouache. This looks good. That looks good. Sky looks good. Trees need to be darker. Roofs could use a little more color. And now we should maybe paint in some of the features of the pink house. So it's like a bright red shadow of all colors in this pink house. So let's make the little archway right here. I'm gonna ignore that blue thing. I don't even know what that is. It's gonna be annoying, so I'm gonna pretend it's not there. That's one of the great things about painting. So if you take a photograph and there's a whole bunch of people in the picture, they're in the picture. But when you do a painting, you can leave the people out. Just paint the other things. Or if there's a trash can, just don't paint the trash can. If there's a blue door thing on your building and you don't really know what that is, just don't paint it. It's so easy. So easy. So I'm adding a little bit of the yellow ochre to this pink to give it like a shadow color here underneath the roof. And then I'll pull in a little bit of whatever that gray tone is, just to make it even darker. Now that is something for the pink. We're going to move on to the roof and drip a bunch of water where we didn't mean to. Gonna have to paint that again. So I dripped a big drop of water right there. And then I had to suck up all of the color. And now I won't match it, but that's okay. Okay, so a little more brown in the roof just to give it some texture. So with a drier brush and some browns, just gonna add some more stripes here to make the shingles look more authentic. It's a really dry brush on purpose, so I can scratch it in. And then I can go back in here. I missed a little spot of blue, so I'm gonna have to fill it in with something. Probably whatever I use for the shadow will be fine. So let's think about this house now. It's got a door and a window, just like the other one did. This door is rectangular and it's blue with a bit of a blue, not that much brown. It might be okay. So it's going to be a little rectangular, a little rectangular door here, and a window. And it does need more blue. So it got too brown, too gray. And then we have this little shadow, so a bit of water, same color. And it just comes underneath all the way across the green one. Might as well put it over here too. And then also over here. And up here. Because we can't really, these colors are grayed out because of the shadow. Good. Well, you know what? I like to hear myself talk about how I'm gonna do it too. It's sort of, I talk to myself. It helps me think when I'm saying what I'm gonna do, and it entertains some of you, so that's always a good thing. All right, so now this greenhouse has a little window and a door. Notice they keep getting smaller as they get further away. And then there's the red house, and it's got a really dark purple door. It's not purple, it's just the shadow color. So let's take purple and mix it with a bit of this blackish, whatever that is. And there's going to be one door here. Oh, it's not enough pigment. It's too much water. One door here. And a window thing here, and another door here. And then this blue building has a window and another window, and there's a window back here, and I've got this purpley color on my brush. What else could I do with it? I could add some more tone in here so it doesn't look plain and brown. And this one too. And then this door is too pale. Well, I need to go back and get that chimney on top of the bread house, since I was so kindly reminded to not forget it. All right, so it's here above. This is the shadow of it. And then it's got a little birdhouse roof on it. Or so it would seem. And it's really dark on this side. And then it's in the sun on that side. So something like that. Something like that. Now, we'll give it a little edge here. And some darkness to help these stand out. And some more lines. All right, we're getting there. Now, we need this big shadow. And we need the dark trees. Let's do the dark trees now. I feel like we're ready for that. So I'm going to go with my darkest green, which is this Viridian, but that's pretty bright. So add a little water here. I'm just gonna tap it. Yeah, yay for the chimney. Just for you. So now I'm just gonna tap in these low lights for the trees. Just putting my brush down and then flicking it up so that this green ends up where I want it to be, not where I don't. And being careful around this lamp post. Not that it should matter too much because the post itself will be painted black. And along this edge. Okay, and now some straight up green again. And then I'm going to wash over this so that it has less distinctiveness about the green. And so here's just a bit of water in between. To be careful, I keep dripping. It's like a little bit of extra water on the edge of my brush, and then it plops off and ends up, didn't necessarily want it to be. All right, I'm going to pick up some sap green, blend that in with this bright green, just to mute that off a little bit. Okay, getting there. I think this is the most challenging one yet. I'm having fun and learning. Sap green, you are welcome, Merrick. Most welcome. Okay. Haven't heard from Amy lately. I wonder if she's just so busy painting. Or if she's done. Okay, so there we have all of the pretty green trees in the distance. We're making our way across the painting. Making our way. It's 9:40, so now I'm officially 10 minutes over time. officially. Let's be done for sure by 10. Let's check here and see what's going on. Make sure it's... My friend is back. Someone else is picking them up at the airport though, so I don't have to make an airport run. Their plane touched down 8 minutes ago. In case you were wondering. I'm sure you were not. Alright, I don't want to miss any spots of green here because it would look funny to have missing trees, like some random lumberjack hijacked our trees. Amy's struggling. Well, I'm glad you're still there. Glad you're still there. I'm challenging you with this crazy scenery. You did vote for it, though. I noticed that. It was one of the ones you were more excited about than the others. Not that excited might not be the right word, but... Alright, so I've got this lamppost. The trees are wet right now, so I'm going to leave that for another minute, but I'm going to maybe give some attention down here to the walkway and the shadows. So let's add the dark shadows in right now, and I'm going to use that same idea, which is burnt umber and ultramarine blue. I was watching this other video, because I watch a lot of videos about how to paint with watercolors, and this guy was using a really noisy water blotter thing. It was so distracting. Every time he would reach in to get some water, he'd make this really loud tap, tap, tap sound to clean off his brush, and it was like loud. It was the loudest thing in the whole video. His water brush, the water being cleaned off his brush. And this is the shadow of the other building on the ground. And I'm just gonna wash it over here. Add a little water. Good. Yeah, I'm glad you really like it. We'll make this one that I will come back to again and again until I get it. Well, it's really pretty. It's got a lot. The thing that I felt was going to be the biggest challenge with this particular one was making sure that it stayed bright enough so that the colors were interesting, but that the shadows were also interesting. So I'll probably paint it again at some point too. I'm trying to do a different picture every day for these 30 days. Just to have some variety, but definitely if you repaint something, you gain more skill the second time. Even if it looks worse, you learn more the second time. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now we have some shadows. Oh boy, do we have some shadows. And we need some darker brown in this dark section. This is also in shadow, or it should be in shadow. Right up to the edge there. And let's see. Maybe we'll add a bit of brown in here for this door. So I'm going to pull up my burnt umber. And I'm just going to add some darker browns in here. And I'm going to try and go around these windows so that they are separate. It really makes me happy that Amy paints these pictures with me, because it feels like we're a team. You can't see what she's doing, but she's doing it, which is good. Can you make a turtle drawing tutorial? I did. Go search it up. I drew a turtle. He's super cute. He's got a green shell, all kinds of little spots on it. It's a while ago. All right, some darky darks up here. coming from the bottom. I really need to remember to change brush sizes when I'm getting into detail work. I keep trying to do all the complicated detail with the number 12 brush. That's just ridiculous. Whoever thought that was a good idea, which wasn't me. I just don't pay attention. I just keep going along with the wrong brush until it's frustrating. I'm like, why isn't this working? Oh, maybe because the brush is enormous and the area I'm painting is tiny. Alright, now there's a little line of shadow up here. I'll just use this brown for that, just to give it a little bit of punch. And I feel like this needs a wash over it because the shadow that's down here is really kind of dark compared to the building that is in shadow, but I love the color, so I'm going to be careful not to ruin it. But what will I use to just dim this down a little bit? I think it's going to be this ochre, but maybe just a super tinted yellow ochre. And I'll just try it up here, see what I think of it. Yeah, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be horrible. It's just it's too bright. I like the brightness, but it doesn't match the intensity of this side of the picture. So it needs to be a little bit more tinted down. And I'm running into my brown, which is still wet. So that's always tricky. Painting wet beside wet is trouble. Is trouble. There, that's better. Now I need to darken up over here too. And I was noticing this interesting little streak coming down from the top. So pull that in first and let that dry a little bit, and then I'll wash it again. I'll wash it a second time. Okay, it's getting there. I need to do the post and some a little bit more like punchy details, some shadows. It was a cartoon turtle. Oh, you wanted a real turtle. I'm headed to Vermont next week to see your daughter. I will ask her to attempt, or better yet, join us. That's a good idea. She'll blow us out of the water, she will, but that's okay. That's awesome. It's not a contest. But it would be nice to see what she can do with our interesting subject matter that we seem to choose. Okay. Holding this up. It's coming. Coming. It's definitely needs, mine needs more detail in the darks, and I really don't know if I'll have time because it is getting close to 10. I have 10 more minutes at the most, and then I will stop and I will show you the final version later, but 10 more minutes. So let's do the lamp post, and let's do it with a smaller brush, and let's get some of that beautiful black that we make with the brown and the blue. Mixing with water. Needs a little more pigment. I put too much water and then it's too slippery. Okay, let's see if that's good. Probably is. Getting surgery, I'm not sure if we'll be able to. I understand. For sure. She hopefully will be up to it. We will understand if she's not. Alright. So now I'm using the smallest brush that I have to paint the edges of this lamppost and hope that my trees are dry enough. And we'll come down through here. And if I don't get the edge, it's okay. I'd like it to have like it's a little bit in the sun as well. So just leave that a little bit reflective, and I will leave less gouache after. And now let's add some shadows into this little building. It just seems to be sticking out too much. I don't even know what it is. It's so shadowy in the image. And some shadows on this one too, just to dim it down. This one looks like concrete. Okay. That's ready now for a bit more of a wash of gray. Going crazy here. Pick up a little purple in my gray just to make it interesting. That's cool. And let's see. I feel like the biggest favor I could do this painting would be to take a marker and just do some outlines when I'm finished. I don't know if that's cheating or not, but it would help. All right, 8 minutes. What will I do with 8 minutes? Well, I could add a little bit of detail to this cobblestone, but that's a little tricky, so I'm going to try it. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of this black on the very tip of this brush, and I'm just going to try and hint at the idea of some stones, but not like make the outlines, because that would be way too much work and detailed. But I'm just going to float it around here, hinting that there could be stones. And as I get further in the picture, I'm going to let the brush be drier so it's less intense and also closer together because it's so far away. But the stones must be closer. That seemed to work. And some more here. Try not to be too symmetrical or too predictable, because that is never good. Ends up being distracting. So I think what else this needs is some splatters on the cobblestones. A kickflip on your skateboard. That is awesome. Skateboarding is dangerous and fun. Trying to get it only on the road and not on the buildings. It's working pretty well. I got one little splatter there and a couple over here, but that's the shadow part, so it's no big deal. So they're pretty obvious at this point, but now I'm going to go over them a little bit and blend a few of them out. And then I'm going to be out of time. This is going to be the end. The end for reals. All right, so I'm going to let this dry, and maybe tomorrow when I come back for the next stream, I'll just do whatever detail appears to be needing to be done once everything's dry, and then I'll know better what needs to happen. But I am out of time, and I'm pretty happy with what I managed to do in just over an hour on this one. It's definitely the most challenging image so far, and it's been fun, but I'm going to have to say goodnight. Thanks for sticking it out. Some of you have been here the whole time, which is amazing. And yeah, 2-hour live stream, super long. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Amy. And who have I still got here? Just give me a quick goodbye, and I'll say goodbye to you personally. Goodbye to Cole and goodbye to Amy. And I know there's a couple more people here, but they aren't talking. Maybe Merrick is still here. See you later, Merrick. and catch, oh, maybe Hiccups? Hiccups had to go make flight arrangements. All right, so